Hello, hello. Hi, Yvonne.
Hello. Hi, Evie. Look at us in our bright tops.
I know. I mean, it's like, I always, people will think we are like talking to each other again. Now we're wearing green, now we're wearing yellow, but it's not the case.
It just happens.
Yeah.
It just
We're
happens.
very
Amazing.
aligned, you and I.
Indeed, indeed. In different parts of the world and yet still so fully aligned. Isn't that a wonderful thing? And for anyone who's tuning in, welcome as always to our Thursday Live, Permission to Thrive. Really looking at the stories that and the narratives, the patterns of behavior that keep us caged into our smaller selves, our lesser selves, and not for us wanting them to, but more often than not because we haven't recognized what it is that's keeping us in those spaces and places. And so what we've been doing over many weeks, and actually I looked at our profile on YouTube, Evie, and this is number 93 since we started doing videos, right? So I'm just dropping that in there because I was
we
like,
have to do
oh,
something
wow.
very special for the 100th one.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to just talk. We share our own experiences of these phrases, where they're relevant, where we have experienced them personally, where our clients have experienced them, and really encouraging you, if you are tuning in, if you're listening, to, just reflect on what you hear and also just think about how these phrases may have shown up for you or are showing up for you. And we always welcome your comments and any feedback. It's all good. So, with that said, Evie, where are we this week?
Well, it is about the sacrifice story, and don't we all know a lot about that one? And yeah, I don't particularly like many of those. I don't particularly like that sacrifice, the sense of sacrifice, like so limiting, and also it's like trying to find the issue outside ourselves, in essence. So yeah, let's dive into that. The one of the first phrase that we are looking at the moment is like, I have to sacrifice everything to succeed. So how does that show up for you, or has it ever showed up for you, Yvonne? Or what is it? What does it bring up?
That's a really good question. And I've really kind of looked at this. I have to sacrifice everything to succeed. I definitely feel like along the way there have been moments when I have felt it, even if I haven't verbalized it. Like, in order to have success, I've got to be prepared to, not have time with my family, not have time with my friends. I've just got to buckle down. I definitely, from that perspective, I can definitely see where that has shown up. And even if it's been fleeting, even if I've been able to like put it down and just say, oh, obviously that's not gonna, well, if that's what it takes to be successful, that's not gonna work for me, probably. Um, I can still I can still kind of feel into what that felt like. And it was very see, for me it didn't feel like a sacrifice. It almost just felt like everything was like I was being squeezed, like life was being squeezed out of me. And that was in pursuit of success, whatever success was. And I think, again, for me, it was probably in those moments when I was being, I think, when the external imagery of success was running for me, not success as I define it. So, in order to live up to that expectation of what success looks like, this is what I need to be willing to do. And, I should be working this many hours a day, I don't need so much sleep, don't need to socialize, all of those types of things. That is what comes up for me. What about you?
Yeah, no, I can hear two things from things that you're saying, and I identify with those quite a lot. It's like that constricting feeling of like, oh, if I want to get where I want to get, then I have to stop doing all the things that I like doing, and I need to focus, and I need to do that and only that, or I need to learn so many things to get there, and all these things, of course, are taking so much time, and maybe because they are too many and there are things that I don't particularly want to learn or want to do, they take even more time and more space, and making me feel even more small and more like a I don't know, like almost angry. Like, why can it? Does it have to be that difficult? And of course, the moment that I started looking into the patterns of the way that this thing was showing up for me, I realized that it was me that was doing all this oppression to myself. Um, because as you said, it's like you're looking out there for what success means, what it is that makes people happy or whatever it is, yeah, but it doesn't necessarily represent what success means for you, completely internally. And what I love in the work that we have been doing all this time now is the term spaciousness, because that is what really can create the environment where success can be born in its own time, without that pressure, without that feeling of having to sacrifice. And that's what I meant in the beginning. Sacrifice by itself is a term that makes you cringe. I think it does me, because it's like, okay, I have to sacrifice this to get there, and like, and sometimes it also, sacrificing for others to do that, and it really, well, it doesn't work for me. It really doesn't work for me. I don't believe that that um, helps me grow. On the
Yeah,
contrary, it constricts me, as you said in the
yeah,
beginning. So yeah,
yeah.
that's how I experience this.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to notice what it means to your body, because for me, that like, I can feel that constriction even as I say it. That's a sensed feeling. That's literally your body saying no, 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 and that's generally because we are operating out of alignment with what truly matters to us,
Yeah,
with our values. So that whole sensation of that tightness coming in, and I have to. For me, that is so related to what the world is telling me I should be doing. And once we recognize, actually, if I'm to sit here and to really think about what does success look like and feel like to me, it's so very different to what the external world is telling me it should look and feel like. And so that's that push pull. That's am I willing to really sacrifice? And I always think, I hear that word and I think, am I going to sacrifice my soul for something that I don't actually want? It's not the thing that's not the thing that I want when I think about what's truly important to me. That's not it. That's just what I've been told it should be. So I think it's a lot of unpicking what has been shown as success. And don't get me wrong, some of the things that have been shown as success, there's nothing wrong with that. And if that is the thing that pulls you, if that is aligned with your values, if that is, go do that. But then you won't have that sensation in your body. It'll be a very different feeling.
correct. It's not sacrifice then. It
Exactly.
is like something that is, I don't know what we can call it, but it is definitely aligned with your own values, aligned with your own sense of being and where you want to go. And then, yes, the focus becomes like pleasure, and you have the space to do the things that you want to do. And your brain is so much more clear in like what you can do and what you cannot do, and what you want to learn and what you don't want to learn, and how you are going to move forward. And this is so different to that sense of sacrificing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I find it so like easy. It's like when you are in that flow and say, okay, I'm getting there, and nobody really can tell me how, or they can't tell me because that's their own process, but doesn't mean that I have to follow that process to get where I want to go. But I can listen to it. I can probably learn some of the things, adapt it to what I want, how I want it, and stuff. One very good example, for the last, I don't know how many years, we hear this morning routines, and like all these successful people, that they are having this perfect morning routine, and they're waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're doing, I don't know, 2 hours, 1 hour of meditation, and they're going to the gym, and then they're doing, I mean, even thinking of all this, to me, it's like, where can I fit all this? It makes me like, forget the sacrifice. Now it makes me anxious. And how is that good for me? How is that good for, like where I want to go, and all these things? But
Yeah.
it is all right to listen to this wonderful different routines that people have, and say, okay, what works for me? I can wake up at like normally I wake up around 6:30. Excellent. What can I do in the next hour from the time that I wake up that does give me that the boom, that
Yes.
energy, and get the day going in my own terms,
Yeah.
and then adapt.
Exactly. That did make me smile because I am the person who wakes up at 5. And the first hour
Okay,
of my day is
that's
meditation.
for
But
you.
there is a meaning and a purpose for me because it is deeply aligned with my work. It's deeply aligned with who I am. And it absolutely sets me up. And I like it because nobody else around me is doing anything at that time. So it's just me with me having that connection, which matters to me. However, I would never say to somebody else, this is what you need to do to be successful. This is what you need to do to get the most out of meditating. This is what you no, because I have found I have found what works for me. 5 years ago, I was struggling to do 2 minutes of meditation, much less an hour. So that would definitely not be something I would say is a definition of success. The success for me has been that I've gone from not being able to meditate or not feeling connected to it to going to 2 to 5 minutes to now being able to meditate for an hour. That's my success in terms of meditating and
Yeah,
actually feeling the benefits of it. That's the success. You know, I am a gym person, but do I follow up meditation with the gym? No, I really don't. The gym comes at another time, at another stage of the day, and not every day. So again, this is about moving away from this. This is what it means to be successful. You're up at, like you were saying, you're up at 5, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, and you spend 8 hours doing that, and then you do this. Listen, if that is a model of success that works for you, and it feels good to you. So there's a sensation with that. Fantastic. For the vast majority of people, I'm going to say that is unlikely to be what sits well. So why be chasing it? Because that's when the sacrifice comes in. You're chasing it, and then you're sacrificing the things that really matter and that really make you feel good and joyful to do this thing because somebody's told you that's the way it should be.
absolutely. And I think this brings us very, very nicely into the second phrase, that success means struggle. And it
Mm.
does mean struggle when you are not aligned with what you want to do, or you're not aligned with the way that you think will bring you the success that you want. So that is like one thing that we really need to take ownership of, doesn't it? I mean, I find that this for me was that, like, okay, what do I want? Why do I want it? Because that is a very important thing. And once those things are answered, then the focus shifts, and it shifts in a good way. You're like, okay, what can I do today that will take me closer? If there is, and I come back to spaciousness again, if it doesn't work for me today, I will take that one step, one minuscule step towards that, and I will not think about it again. I'm not going to reprimand myself. And when I do catch myself reprimanding, because I do that occasionally, we're human, I go back to saying, okay, why do I reprimand myself? What are the things that are shifting now and are making me feel like this? And again, you see, this to me is like taking control, but in a good way. Like you are responsible for the steps
Yes.
that you're taking, you're responsible for your focus. You're happy to get to the success. So why are you feeling that you're sacrificing? You're not. That's how I see it.
Self-leadership.
Yeah,
Self-leadership. And I think
absolutely.
that also just kind of rephrasing things, because ease and success can live in the same
Oh,
space. You know, success doesn't have to be difficult all the time. Life will always, and I'm going to say this, and if you disagree, please share that. I'm really happy for that too. Life will always have challenges. And I believe more often than not, if not always, those challenges are a lesson. There is something for you to extract from it. That doesn't mean to say that the challenge is nice, that you want to be in it, that you want to be with it, that it's actually an experience that you'd want to have again or you'd want anyone else to have. It's simply that that challenge is giving you an opportunity to peel some other stuff away, to get closer to your source, your truth. And if we can remember that, then we can also remember that if I'm going for this, whatever this vision of success I have, and if it's true to me, so if it's aligned to me, I can do this with a degree of ease. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't mean that every single day I need to feel like I'm fighting in a boxing ring. It doesn't have to be that. Whilst also accepting there will be moments that will probably arise, even when you are aligned. You know, and I say that for myself because, gosh, I have never felt more aligned than I have done in the past kind of like year and a half of my work. I have felt so aligned. Has that stopped the challenges from coming? Absolutely not. The challenges have come. However, because I am more in tune with and aligned with where I'm heading, or what it is, that vision that I have, I can access creativity and clarity of what I need to do with far greater ease. There's the ease than ever before. You know, whereas before it would have been a battle. It was well, I was in a battle because I wasn't really pursuing what truly mattered, and now I am. It's very different.
oh yes. And you know, it's almost like when you're driving and you're about to crash, and you know, they say, everybody says, like, drive into the, not into the crashing thing, but like you know, like, go with it, and that is going to stop the crashing. But like, automatically we want to fight against it, and that's what causes the issue, basically. So I think this is very similar in a way, that we are so used to, like, thinking that everything needs to be a struggle, and we have to, you know, bury our feet in the sand and just, you know, hold on for dear life, and I don't know what. And that causes so much grief that we really don't need to have. And it has been such a godsend, you know, like the work that we do with positive intelligence, that at least for me, it has sort of changed the way that I see things. When it comes to that, the moment that I feel that I am holding on too tight, that's when I just let go. And more often than not, is like when things start working out, the moment that I let go. And I know it's very hard to even consider letting go when you're so fixated on something, and especially when you're thinking that it has to be a struggle to get to where you want to go. um that,
Yeah.
but it's not. I don't know how to share them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I will always say, pause, pause and come back to yourself. What is your nervous system telling you? Because it is not, your body is constantly talking to you. And all of that, that struggle, that tension, it's all held in the body. And it may not even be relative to the thing that you're thinking about in this moment. It may just be this natural reaction that you now have because of things that have happened before. So even being able to pause and, oh, okay, what is going on with me right now? Why am I feeling this? Is it because of this thing that I'm pursuing? Is this sense of struggle real, or actually is it something that has just become reactivated in my body? And being able to feel into that without judgment, and again, it's not right, wrong, blame, good, bad. It's just being able, oh, okay, is this really the present situation or is this another situation? Because that's how we start to discover our patterns. That's how we start to say, oh my goodness, whenever this happens, this is exactly what comes up for me. This is it. This is what happens. I had this with a client last week. Won't go into it, but she literally had oh my God. And I know exactly why I do that now. And she literally, and she could see where it came from because she was looking at it with her eyes. It was like, oh my goodness, it's when that happened, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, and I didn't even know that. Now that's somebody in her 50s who suddenly had that clarity in a moment. So, yeah, I always, for me, it's that ability to come back, take a pause, because nothing is lost in a pause. In fact, most things are gained in it. And really kind of tune into yourself and just get used to doing that so that you can really tell whether this thing is pushing or pulling you, um, whether the struggle is real or not, right? Because I'm not to say that sometimes things feel like a struggle. Again, like you, it's not a favorite word of mine, but sometimes things do feel like a struggle. But why does it feel like a struggle? Is it simply because you're pursuing something that isn't really aligned with what you truly desire? Or is there something else that you need to do before this other thing that you're trying to do? Yeah.
And I think the pause is one of the most important tools in anyone's toolbox, for sure, especially when you are in that process of understanding what your body is telling you. And on top of that, I think there is also this question of like, what is the worst that can happen? Because we are very often forgetting that, or we are only seeing something like a boogeyman, something, lurking in the darkness, and we cannot define it. And that's why it's like keeping us even more in that panic mode, or in that mode of struggle. But if you name what's the worst that can happen, then there are two things that potentially happen. Is like the worst is not really that bad. You really couldn't care less, even if that worst could happen. And the second is like, if the worst that could happen is named and we know what it is, we can always get prepared for that plan B in case something like that happens and it is important. So either way, it's a win for us to name that and to stop the struggle. I mean, the struggle by itself is only distraction. That's all there is.
Mm.
And we don't want to be distracted, not when we are getting towards the goals that we, or the, you know, like what we think is success, what we feel is success. We want to be focused, but in a good way, in a way
Yeah.
that does serve us and the way we are as humans. Every single one of us is unique, isn't it? So every single one of us sees success in a different way. So don't buy in that, you know, success is this and this is what you have to do, and you know, that's the recipe. I don't believe there is a recipe, really.
Absolutely. And I think there's something around, even that second phrase, success means struggle. Well, it can only mean struggle if you choose to let it mean struggle, right?
Absolutely.
We get to choose. Actually, that's not what success means to me. So what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? And it doesn't have to be the same as what it means to this person over there or that person over there. What does it mean to you? And I always kind of something else that just came up for me because I hear it so often is, when people, and I'm going to talk about people who are, perhaps in acting or singing and all that kind of stuff, and they talk about their story and they always just say, oh, people always think I was an overnight success. There is no overnight success. I started this when I was 8 years old and I'm 25 now, or, I started this when I was 15 and I'm 40 now. Do you know what I mean? So we're seeing the fruits of all of their labor, but we're not tracking all the labor. And that
That's it.
doesn't mean to say that that was a struggle. It was what they were willing to do to get to where they wanted to get to. That doesn't necessarily mean it was a struggle. It just means that they chose to do very specific things, show up in very specific ways, put in a specific amount of time to get to that thing that meant something to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there, I mean, there will be the that thought of like, yeah, right, but like if you think the percentage of people that succeed and the others that they don't, well, how do you know? Because again, what does success mean? And there are a lot of people out there that are very successful in their own way, and they're very happy about it, and they have taken their own type of steps to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. In
that's
fact, you say that there was a beautiful post, and I can't remember the person's name, but she was sharing a story about she has her own business. And of course, she was pursuing success as defined by the external world, and then realized actually, and she found her true success or her true joy, which for me is a success. When
absolutely.
you find your true joy, that is success. Was actually having a mobile home, like a caravan with her kids. She could still work. She works remotely, but she gets to spend time with her kids. She gets to go for walks with her kids in nature. All of this. It was just such a beautiful story. And I'm just like, and there's her success. How gorgeous is that? She's carved out that life the way she can really feel it and has been able to put down that this is what you need to do sheet of what success must look like. There's a win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's it. That's it. So
Yeah.
I think that every single one of us to take the moment to pause, and the first step in everything is like, okay, define what success is, because at the end of the day it's
Yeah.
your success, so you need to give it a name, you need to define it, you need to give it a meaning, and then take the steps, do whatever you need to do in a good way to get there without the sacrifice, because there is no sacrifice when you're doing things that you love. There's absolutely no sacrifice. Oh, that's my
Yeah.
little thinking.
Yeah. And I love that because I know for some people sacrifice definitely feels like part of what they do to get to where they want to go to. So I'm always interested to hear, how that plays out for somebody else, really. But if we are using these phrases and everything that we're doing is happening based on these patterns, based on these phrases, then to me they're already showing how much we're limiting ourselves because it's like so on a day when you're not struggling, does that mean you're not being successful? Is that what you're saying? I mean, let me forget to count the small successes along the way because those count too. So I think we're going to leave it right there. Look forward to any comments as always. And just to say that at Permission to Thrive, we're here to help you break free from the narratives, the stories, the patterns that keep you caged.
With grace, not grind.
Always. Evie,
Thank you, Yvonne.
always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Always. Thank you.
Thank you to all those who've tuned in too.